Want to build a peasant paradise? Crusader Kings III is a game where you typically play as a noble, lording over your expendable serfs and sending them off to die in your endless wars. But what if we flipped the script? What if we played as the peasant and revolted against our betters to create a peasant utopia in a game that's supposed to simulate feudalism? Well, the building blocks are all there, and as I explained it in a short a few months ago, there are actually mechanics in-game that allow you to create a society all about peasants, which is what I'll be attempting to do as this guy, John. Named after priest John Ball, who led an unsuccessful rebellion to abolish the aristocracy in England, John here is of House Lowborn, a dynasty with a banner I've designed to look kind of like the banner for people who are actually lowborn. Sadly, you can't play as a true peasant in CK3. You may be homeless and in crippling debt, but the game will still consider you as part of a dynasty. In a way that's rather optimistic, I guess. But anyway, John is as close to a peasant as you can get, and his house motto reflects that. In terms of traits, John is obviously a man driven by justice. Also, he's temperate, not indulging in the luxury of the elites. And he's a rather eccentric man, as he's got this strange idea that the small folk are human beings. Yuck. I mean, yes, peasants, rights for the peasants, yes, that's what we're doing. As a bonus, he's also quick and has a martial education, as make no mistake, it'll take some fighting to take power from the elite. First things first though, we're nothing more than a homeless 25-year-old in Winchester with 2 friends and a dream. We're gonna make a utopia somewhere, and to do it we need money, soldiers, and land, and right now we have nothing. Our adventure begins with an old Welshman wanting to hire us to protect him on the way to Warwick. Don't know why he trusts us to do it, but our mercenary band, the Legion of God, accepts. In Warwick, I meet Chanok, who joins us to become our doctor, and then I immediately spend most of my money on learning how to be witty. Turns out helping the Welsh pays off, as I'm able to call in a favor from that Welsh guy's patron and get 100 longbowmen for free, one of the best units in the game. Calling in favors like this is one of the main ways I'll grow my army, so that eventually I'm strong enough to take down a lord. To be able to keep growing my army, I need to upgrade my camp, thus I'll need gold and will take any odd job I can to scrape some together. Any job such as this one, where an Anglo-Saxon duke is offered to pay me 37 bucks to help him fend off the Vikings. How many Vikings are there? Dear God. Well, I believe in justice. I'm not gonna back out of this contract. I'll fight. I'll do my part. Well, one of my friends is dead and my doctor was captured by Vikings. I think taking down the government might be a bit harder than I thought. Britain kind of sucks right now and there's no work, so I think I'll go to France. Once in France, I pay more money to a guy to learn how to be witty. Then go to the castle and convince 20 other guys to join me. Following this, I get another very profitable transport contract and escort some count to southern Spain. My band is technically a mercenary group, but it seems like walking around is far more profitable than dying in battle. After this, I'm able to ransom my doctor out of jail, I do a few more jobs, and dear God, time has passed and I'm already 28. I'm barely wealthier than when I started. I've managed to upgrade my camp, but soon my life's dreams will slip away like sand through an hourglass. But look here, I went to a bar and got this event, a potential match. She looks puzzled as I approach her, possibly because my internal turmoil is clear as day on my face. Why would this bother me? I am Captain John of the Legion of God, damn it. I keep reminding myself of my recent accomplishments in order to remain calm. I'm mostly failing. Elizabeth. She's got high stewardship, learning, martial, intrigue, and prowess. She's a hunter and a peasant and seems a good person to marry as any. Well, I suppose all this wandering hasn't been a complete waste. I've done some more contracts, gotten some more upgrades, and more people to join my band. My wife is now known as the Hunter, and I have a brief moment where it looks like I'm going to adopt a Herculean feral child, but sadly he runs away. During this time I got a lust for land as I long for the peasant utopia. In Constance I complete my first tournament, which I win. After having paid an upsetting number of bards, I finally unlocked max wittiness. This gives me a bonus to lifestyle experience gain, army speed, and to my diplomacy. The extra charisma was absolutely necessary. How am I supposed to be a populist if I'm not popular? But look, my son has been born. I will name him something humble, like Savior of the People. Yes, Savior of the People Johnson of House Lowborn. In other news, I failed to romance my wife, but instead of my marriage devolving into hatred and cheating, we had a beautiful moment watching the sunset where we became friends. Well, that's something, I guess. Now here's what I've been waiting for. It's a fight corruption contract. These contracts are given out to mercenaries whenever a liege wants to secure his peasants and increase control in the area. But these contracts are unjust. It is our place to be ruled over, but Jarl Magnus does so unjustly. With chaos rife in the land, we can hardly hold on to what's ours. Still, he drives us to labor for him like workhorses. We toil without any promise of safety from war, maladies, and the like. I cannot stand for this manner of injustice. In addition to completing the contract normally, you also have the option of betraying your patron, siding with the commoners, and rising up in a peasant revolt. I thought we had an agreement. That you were rounding up these fools to give them a fright, not by Thor, to weep at the plight of these knaves. And now what? You shall join the commoners in revolt? To which I say, why yes actually, rights for the peasants. I'm now a peasant leader and it's time to bring freedom to the people of Brittany. Yes, this is for justice, for peace, prosperity, and... Damn. "600 men, 600 deaths under my command, 'cause I had one goal in mind." Well, actually, it was more like 3,000, but who's counting? Anyway, I was arrested. I escaped and fled to Bohemia, where I promptly caught Typhus. I recovered from the typhus surprisingly quickly actually, but it felt like I had died. The failed rebellion of Brittany was a major setback that took me a while to recover from. However, after completing a bunch more petty contracts, I increased my level of fame and perceived holiness, making it easier to recruit demoralized soldiers from random castles. Pretty soon, things were going well again. With all the money I'm making, I'm able to upgrade the camp of the Legion of God to level 3, and get a bunch of bonuses. I participate in my second tournament, archery this time, which I also win and get a unique bow. It has now been 19 years since I first left England. I'm 44 years old and have 4 kids. My martial and prowess have increased dramatically, and I have 800 soldiers under my command. And I have one goal in mind. The mercenary life has been good, all things considered, but I didn't start this journey for personal gain, I did it to liberate the people, and now an opportunity has presented itself. In Spain, there's a fight corruption contract available, and now it's time to win. You will pay, Duke, whoever you are. After a few short trips across the countryside, the war is on. In addition to my usual troops, over 2,000 peasants have risen up to join my army. Also, some random other duke wanted his son to marry my daughter, and I accepted, because it gave me an alliance with another 1,000 soldiers. Now you may be saying, Rolono, I thought you were planning to destroy the aristocracy, not marry into it. To which I say, yes, but I needed those extra troops. Better to be alive and a hypocrite than a dead saint, right? Don't worry, I'm sure this is the last time the revolution will be compromised. Anyhow, besieging the southern provinces, things are going well until I spot the enemy army. They made alliances of their own, and it's bigger than anticipated. Rallying all the peasant armies to a single hillside, we prepare to make our stand against the aristocrats. And we won. Okay, that battle totally could have gone either way, that was rather stressful. In other news, I learned my wife's language. Apparently it's been 15 years of marriage and I didn't know it. Okay, that might be why my romance attempt failed earlier. Back to the war, a few more sieges and it's done. The war is over. I lose the peasant leader trait and gain the populist leader trait, becoming the first leader of Free Cordoba. Whenever you win a peasant revolt, you don't just get a regular duchy title, but rather a new custom title representing your peasant state that spans across the borders of several existing duchies, hence the weird border gore here. So that's pretty cool. Instead of normal Cordoba, we're Free Cordoba, and this is not the end of our story. I didn't set out to win one rebellion and become a new lord. I sought to bring freedom to peasants permanently, which means our religion and culture are gonna need to change, and I've gotta get a lot more clout. Okay, first off, these borders are a mess. I'm never going to survive if the country looks like this, frankly, because I won't survive looking at it. I can't just holy war the guy I stole this duchy from because he's involved in the Iberian struggle, but what I can do is get more land elsewhere. Thus, I've launched a holy war for the kingdom of Tahert, and have called in buddies who helped win the revolt for me to help us expand freedom even further. Okay, so the war goes a bit weird. The enemy capital changed like 3 times, but after hiring some mercenaries, I'm able to win. Look at me, I hire the mercenaries now. The good part of being both a veteran adventurer and a populist leader is that my army is essentially free, which is really helpful when creating our utopia. As right now, if I die, it all falls apart, as my son would go into crippling debt because of the army, and would probably lose his land if he shrinks that army. Existential fears aside, with Tahert now secured for Free Cordoba, I'm trying to increase my prestige as much as possible to reform my culture and get a special tradition that lets me bring true freedom to the peasants. In order to get prestige, however, I basically must go on a bunch of hunts and make sure I've got court positions that are constantly increasing my prestige. Okay, now I know it may look like I'm living like a king. Yes, I may have just put a crown upon my head and created a kingdom. I may have just set the fashion budget to max, but I haven't betrayed the revolution. This is all to safeguard the revolution. As for all this land I took, I'm going to give it to nobles of the local culture temporarily in order to increase cultural acceptance with them so that I can hybridize Anglo-Saxon and Booter. This is important as Buder has the Stoic ethos, which is necessary for my plan. Also, since we're no longer in just Cordoba and I have a higher tier title, I've renamed it to the Free Peasants. It's finally time. I've hybridized Butra and Anglo-Saxon into the Free Peasant culture. Prefix, Free Peasanty. Not only does it help stop popular opinion debuffs due to us being foreign conquerors, but it also lets us pick the Stoic ethos, which in addition to the communal and egalitarian ethos provides a 20,000 prestige discount to getting this tradition. Collective lands. Collective lands is half our master plan. It makes it so that granting a county to a commoner gives them the peasant leader trait, and makes that trait inheritable so that the county remains ruled by peasants forever. There's also some bonuses to farms and fields and all this stuff, but I don't care. The peasants are all that matter. The time has finally come for true freedom. Beautiful. The whole world is about to be ruled by the common people. You could make a religion out of this. And indeed, I'm about to. It's been 52 years since I first left England. Since I liberated Cordoba and Hurt, I've been amassing piety to create a religion of ultimate egalitarianism, the second half of my master plan. Behold, communalism. Which to note is definitely not communism. This new faith is the most communal you can get. Communal identity, communal possessions, communion. Actually, let me change communal identity to something else. Frankly, I just don't like it as a tenet very much, so we'll go with something to help expand the revolution instead. Let's throw in some equality, some polygamy, some witchcraft, cause what else am I gonna use all this piety for? Oh, and let's make me supreme head of the church. Now the best thing about communalism is this tradition here, communal possessions. God intended for us all an equal share of the resources on earth. We should hold all things in common and redistribute the stolen wealth of the powerful. Basically, this tenet makes it so that you gain piety from sending gifts, artifacts, and from marrying lowborn characters. And it makes the peasant leader trait a virtue. With this faith, we shall make ultimate equality. But what color scheme should we go with? How about... Okay, so I kind of consecrated my bloodline, making it so that my descendants are seen as the offspring of a messiah, and thus basically guaranteeing that my family will always be in power. But I think we've improved the lives of the peasants. Mostly. Maybe. A little bit. Anyway, like, subscribe, and long live the peasants.